If you remember what I told you, we were going to be going over 3 different forms or 3 different equations for lines. The first one that we've become familiar with is slope-intercept form, okay? Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And I've learned how to write that equation with the book giving me all different pieces of information. We know how to write it when they give me a slope and an intercept. We know how to write it when they give me a slope and a point. And I know how to write it when they give me 2 points, okay? I always have to go back to finding a slope and my y-intercept. If you get it, think about the name, slope-intercept form. So I need a slope and a y-intercept. So today what we're going to be learning is the point-slope form. Okay, it's a totally different equation, but it still represents an equation for a line. So, okay, if you can use your brain to reason this, okay? Slope-intercept form, I needed a slope and an intercept. So for this equation, I need a point and a slope. So point-slope. So let's look at the point-slope form first of all. This is my equation. You need to memorize this equation right here. Write it down, star it, put a box around it. You have to memorize this formula. Okay, the point-slope formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug numbers in for this, and this. Okay, and you may say, all right, well, what is the difference between the y's? Think about it this way. This is the easiest way I can tell you. The x and the y's with the numbers get numbers plugged in for them. This y and this x will always stay x and y. It will never have numbers plugged in for it in the point-slope formula. Just kind of like your slope-intercept, it's always y equals your slope, which could be like 2x plus my y-intercept, which could be like 3. So I never plug in a number for x and y. Same thing in the point-slope form. I'm only going to plug in a point, and I'm going to plug it in for the x and y that has numbers, and I'm going to plug in my slope. Okay, so memorize this formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So what we want to do here is we want to use the point-slope formula to write an equation. So let's write the point-slope form. I'm going to have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm going to use this formula, and I see, okay, 2 things I need are a point and a slope. So let's see, they've given me a point, x and y, and they've given me a slope, m. So they've given me everything I need. All I need to do is plug it in. So I'm going to write y minus, what am I supposed to plug in for y? -4. So let's plug in -4. Well, what happens there? With those 2 negatives becomes a positive. You can just write y plus 4 if you want instead of having to write the double negative, or you can write the double negative. My m is -2, so I plug that in, times x minus x1, so I have a -3. That is the most common mistake people make on this form, is they forget about double negatives. So I have y plus 4 equals -2 times x plus 3. And then this is your answer. I have also got a lot of people who try to do distributive property and solve this out. No, this is it. This is an equation in point-slope form. You don't want to do anything to it. All right, so let's do the next one. Remember, I need a point, which I have, an x and a y, and a slope, an m, which is what I have. So let's use the formula. Y minus -1, so I'm just going to write y plus 1 because I know the double negative is going to become a positive, equals m, which is 1/2, times x minus x1. What's x1? 2, so I plug that in. And this is my equation in slope-intercept form. I don't want to do anything else to it. That's my final answer. Okay? Now let's do the point-slope form whenever they don't give us everything I need. Remember, I need a point and a slope. Well, if I look here, they give me 2 points actually, but I don't have a slope. So what are you going to guess we're going to use to find the slope? Yep, the slope formula. So I'm going to have m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? If you have not memorized this formula, you will have to memorize it before the test because it's one of the test questions. So I've got x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, so let's plug it in. I'm going to have negative 2 minus 6 over 1 minus negative 3. So I know that's going to become a positive. Negative 8 over 4, which gives me negative 2 as my m. Now if you look, I've got two different points. Guess what? You can use either one. It does not matter. Either point. So let's remember, what's point slope formula? It's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I've got my slope and I've got my point. So let's plug in. I'm going to use this first point here, negative 3, 6. So I'm going to do y minus 6 equals m, which was negative 2, times x plus 3. I'm going to go ahead and make that a positive 3 because I know the double negative there gives me a positive. Okay? Again, this is my final answer. Don't try to work it out. Don't try to solve it, simplify it. This is your final answer. Okay, so let's do the same thing in this next problem. I've got to find a point and a slope. Well, they've given me my point. I've got two of them. And now I'm going to use my slope. So I've got to find my slope. So I'm going to have m equals y2, which is 1, minus 3, which is y1, over x2, which is negative 1, minus x1, which is also negative 2. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. So my slope is going to be negative 2. All right? This time, let's use this point in my equation. Again, it does not matter which one you use. It will still come out to be the same line. So I'm going to do y minus 1, because this is x, this is y, equals m, which was negative 2, times x minus x1. Well, I know minus plus my negative 1 is going to make that a positive. And this is my final answer. All right, let's do one last one of those. Okay? So, point slope, I know I need a point and a slope, so I start out finding my slope. M equals negative 2 minus 1, y2 minus y1, over x2, which is 1, minus x1. So I get negative 3 over 1 minus 3 is negative 2. What is negative 3 divided by negative 2? Positive 3 over 2. Okay, now let's use this first point here to solve. So I'm going to have y minus 1 equals 3 over 2 times x minus 3. And this is my final answer for the point slope form. Okay, so the two equations we've learned so far, slope-intercept, y equals mx plus b, and the point slope, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. You will need to memorize both of these formulas for your upcoming test and quiz.